It's the holidays. It's the best time of the year. So much magic in the air, wonderment and joy. I feel like a little kid again. And these Confit Duck Popovers with cherry brown butter are so good and tasty, you will be the star of the show. Let's get into this. First things first is the popovers, and here's a little tip. Whether you're making Yorkshire pudding or popover, it's kind of the same thing, put it in a blender. And the ingredients are super simple. So a good shot of milk. The great thing about these popovers is I guarantee you everybody's got milk, flour, and eggs, and that's all it takes. But you want to put it in a blender because the flour, all the little grains of flour want to be completely rehydrated. So if you blend it, it gets rehydrated, and when it's rehydrated, you get super fluffy popovers. So egg, flour, and a bit of milk. You can use buttermilk if you want a little extra tang in your popover, but I do something just a little different with mine because it's going with Confit Duck. So, a little shot of allspice. This stuff is absolutely wild, exciting, and explosive. It comes from a berry from the Great Antilles, also found in southern Mexico and very hot countries, and it's revered by the British because it has notes of clove, cinnamon, and nutmeg. So that's going in. And those spices work really well with duck. Duck is amazing, so get that in there. And then I put 1 sprig of rosemary. Again, this herb is very woody. It's very floral, so just a couple touches of rosemary in your popover. When it cooks, you get tons of warm rosemary flavor. All right, blend it. You want to blend it. Blend it, blend it. And let it go. You want all of that flour to soak up all of that beautiful liquid. Let the allspice get in there, the rosemary. We're well on our way. So here's the deal. What I like to do is make the mix, and then you want to let the mix hang out for like 20 minutes, which gives me time to do some other stuff. It's all about the timing. So this is duck confit. That's just a fancy word for duck legs, cooked in its own fat for a really long time at a low temperature, so it gets very nice and flavorful. And it's the holidays. I get it. You're busy. You're running around. I bought duck confit. If you can't find it like this, it's kind of easy to find like this. You can just cook it in some oil, some butter, about 225 degrees. Put some salt and pepper on it, and that's all you need to make duck confit. But if you buy it like this is how I like to heat it up. So get a pan with some parchment paper in it so it won't stick, and then you can lay the duck skin side down, and then just place it in a warm oven so it heats up and that meat will flake right off the bone. And duck confit is great because it's cooked for a long time. You can see the meat shrunk from the bone, and it's just super tender, and it's got the great natural flavor of duck. It's fatty, it's just delicious. And it's the holidays, you know, duck, turkey, it all makes sense. Okay, so the sauce for this is super fun and super festive, and it uses just a few ingredients. So frozen black cherries. If you get cherries in the summer, you can pit them and freeze them. I do that, and I use them year round. They're just delicious. So it's really simple. Touch of water and a nice hot pan. Then you can put the cherries in. It's working! Put the frozen cherries in, and then you want a nice big shot of sugar. Let it cook down, let the cherries release their juice, mix with the sugar, and when it's really sweet and thick, you know the cherry sauce is finished. So good. So the key to the door and world of a good popover and a Yorkshire pudding is preheating the muffin tin. So before I started all of this, I put a muffin tin in the oven at 425 and melted some duck fat. If you don't have duck fat, you could use canola oil or beef drippings, but just make sure you get your muffin tin hot. That's how you're gonna get a good explosion and have really puffy popovers. That is very warm. Okay, so here's the deal. You don't need a lot of grease in them, just enough to kind of like get it ready for the popover dough. So this is duck fat. Yeah, you don't want too much. A little beef trimming, bacon fat will work, or you can just use oil that works with a high smoking point, like canola oil, but this is great. The duck fat's warm, the pan is warm, and that's a good secret to a great popover. So depending on how big you want and explosive you want, you can put a little, you can put a lot. I like making them not super big because this is like an appetizer, so you can just start filling them. Okay, so once they're filled, get them to the oven right away and they're gonna puff up and explode. Perfect. Smell a duck that makes it feel like the holidays. Okay, this is pretty easy. The popovers are in, the duck's cooking away, getting really nice and warm and shred, and you know when the cherry sauce is done, when it bubbles like that, and the bubbles look really shiny and sweet. There's some juice in there, the cherries still have their structure, so that's part one of the cherry brown butter. Part two is making brown butter, which is pretty simple. So you want the pan really ripping hot. And then when you see the sides of the pan start to smoke, that's when you can throw in butter, and then that's when you stop. You want the butter to hang out in there so the milk solids can toast and you get super nutty butter. Okay, once you see some smoke, then you can add butter and you should hear a good sizzle. Oh yeah, it should be smoky. Let her go. You want the smoke. This is perfect. Where'd you go? There you are. Embrace the smoke, let it cook and don't move it. You want the milk solids to become nice and brown and the butter gets super nutty. It already smells delicious. All right, so you know when the butter is done, when it looks nutty, it smells nutty, and all the bubbles subside, and what you're left with is liquid gold. And look at the color of that nutty brown butter. Pour it slowly onto the cherry liquid, and then there's some sediment left at the bottom. You want to leave that, and the only thing to finish that sauce is some diced shallot, tiny bit of sage, salt and pepper. Perfect. Check this sauce out. It's beautiful. Sweet cherry, sage, shallot, salt, pepper, and it's a combination of the brown butter, which is really savory, and the sweet cherries. Together, the duck loves a little kiss of sweetness, and the allspice in the Yorkshire pudding is perfect. And speaking of duck, I got a little ducky here for you. It's great to cook it on parchment paper because it keeps it non-stick, and then when you flip the duck over, it's super nice and crispy, and because it's been confit, look at how tender this duck is. You can just take a fork and you can just pull away meat like that. That's so great. Let it cool down for a sec, flake all the meat off the bone, and the popovers are almost finished. All right, so shred the duck up until you have nice bite-sized pieces like that. It's gonna go perfect in the popover. Oh, yes! Check this out. I love these things because they're so ridiculously easy to make, and they puff up, but with the little kisses of allspice in there and the rosemary, it's gonna go with the duck and the cherry brown butter. Let's plate it up. This is awesome. I love this recipe. It's so good because it looks so cool. It's ridiculously tasty. And hey, you can make the popovers ahead of time. If you don't like duck, you can use leftover turkey. Just warm them up, cut them in half, stuff them, a little simple sauce. And next time you're looking for an idea for a holiday party, do this. Make this. This is a great side on a table or even a delicious snack. I don't even know what to say. It's so good. It makes you laugh. It's so warm and comforting. I love the duck. It's nice and crispy, but it's also fatty. And then just wrapped up in a little popover with some cherry brown butter. It's super delicious. So my friends, next time you're looking for a little wow factor on your table or a brand new idea for a classic holiday get-together, try these confit duck popovers with cherry brown butter and watch all of the smiles hit the faces of the people that you love. These are so good.